following is a short story titled For Your Honor. This story was previously published on my YouTube channel, but I am re-recording it now to reflect some recent audio upgrades. I hope you enjoy it. It was pouring rain when the C-130 cargo plane touched down on the runway at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. Sergeant Byron Jackson was returning from his second tour of duty in the Kon Tum province of South Vietnam. He was a Green Beret and a combat medic assigned to the 5th Special Forces Group. He was now 23 years old, and tomorrow he would officially become a civilian again. He had seen enough death to last him 3 lifetimes during his time in country. Now, as he stood inside the hangar, looking out the large plate glass window, he watched as a group of military servicemen stood at attention in the pouring rain. They did not move a muscle, rain pouring off the brims of their caps, as they waited for the rear ramp to open up. Inside the C-130, there were 36 flag-draped caskets lined up in rows. As the airmen started to unload them one by one and place them on the trams that would take them inside to the morgue, several members stood at attention, saluting as the caskets went by them. Sergeant Jackson saluted as well. When the last of them was placed on the tram, Byron Jackson dropped his salute, turned, and walked away. He was anxious to put the war behind him. He had enrolled in the pre-med program at a college near his hometown in upstate New York and was excited about getting started. He had direction. He had purpose. Byron soon found out that college campuses in 1971 were not the ideal place for a Vietnam veteran to be. He was spit on. He was called baby killer. He had joined the army to serve his country, as his father and grandfather had done before him. The homecoming that he longed for was different than that of soldiers from previous wars. He walked off campus one day, gathered his belongings in a rucksack, and headed into the wilderness. There he lived alone for 3 years. There he found quiet solitude. There he found his escape from society. However, he could not find peace. He could not escape the war or himself. In 3 years, all he could attempt to do was to forget. But forgetting was not healing, and at the end of those 3 years, he was no closer to forgetting. His homecoming from Vietnam did not bring the healing he had anticipated. It did not bring him a sense of closure to the horrors he had experienced in war, as he believed it did for his father and grandfather during their previous homecomings. There were no ticker tape parades. There were no understanding ears to listen. There was only disdain and disrespect. There was only hatred and anger. People took out their political views and opinions about the validity of the war on the soldiers who fought in it. Soldiers who were, for the most part, just doing what they perceived as their duty. Soldiers who, rightfully so, just answered their nation's call to arms. It was a patriot's duty to serve as needed, to serve as ordered, not to question the motives or legitimacy of their nation's call. For probably the first time in our nation's history, that service was not honored and appreciated. For the first time in our nation's history, its citizens let down the men and women who served on their behalf with honor and dignity. Byron Jackson would spend the rest of his life searching for that closure. The end.